Hi guys and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a full face of Guerlain using nearly all of the products from the recently released, that's the Guerlain Holiday collection. I just thought this looked absolutely beautiful. So I picked up everything, only one of the lipsticks, but I didn't pick up the Terracotta, the bronzer, because it was really, in my opinion, was a little bit plain, and the gold that they had on it, that would have been an overspray, and I really do have so many of those terracotta bronzers, so I decided to skip that one. So let's start off with some primer. I'm going to use the Guerlain, this is the 24K gold one. This is a really beautiful primer. And for my foundation today, I've got a couple, actually I've got three, including the powder foundation from Guerlain. And I think in a video a while ago I used the terracotta one. So today I'm going to use the gold matte one that was released last year. So this is the Gold Skin Matte Foundation, and I have this in the shade 3N. So I've just put a pump on the back of my hand. As you can see, it is quite thick. It's a very creamy foundation. Now, I've had people ask me before, which foundation do I prefer? The terracotta one or this one? And they are both really beautiful. So that's quite a hard question to answer. But at a pinch, I would say that I do prefer this one. I think it just gives just that little bit extra and perhaps a little bit more blurring, and it is really flattering on my mature skin. And this foundation also lasts really well during those warmer summer months, as well as other times during the year with my oilier skin. But I think this gives a really beautiful finish, and you can build this up to a strong medium, or you can have it sheer if you want to. But it is really gorgeous, and I wore it the other day when I went out. And since I have so many foundations, since I have this YouTube channel, when I reach for something that I haven't worn for a little while, and then I put it on and wear it and just think how beautiful it is, then this would probably be amongst my, it's hard to say, I've just got so many foundations, but it would definitely be in my top 10. Now this is fragranced, so those of you that haven't tried this before, and most of Guerlain makeup products are fragranced. I happen to love the fragrance, but there are people out there that don't like a scent in their makeup. So if you're one of those people, then you're not going to like this foundation. But I find that it does dissipate quite quickly after putting it on. It really does give a beautiful finish, and when I reviewed this, when I first picked this up, I remember loving it then, and I still love it now. It is really gorgeous. Now for concealer, I'm going to use the Terracotta concealer, and I'm not quite sure which shade I picked this up in. I think this may be 3N as well, and I wore this the other day when I tried out the foundation. This concealer is very nice. I don't know whether I would put it in one of my go-to concealers. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's a really lovely concealer. But for me, it doesn't quite give that wow factor that a few of my other concealers have. So I'm just going to blend it out using my BK Beauty Brush. And then, as usual, I just go over with my finger just to meld the concealer in. It just works really well because your fingers are quite warm, and just helps that concealer, as I say, just meld in and just set down without any creasing. Of course, I always powder over it as well. So I've just powdered under my eyes as well, but for the rest of my face, I'm going to use, this is brand new, and I only got this last week, and this is the Guerlain, this is the Gold Skin Diamond Micro Powder. I've used this 3 or 4 times since I got it last week, and I think this is a really beautiful powder. I wasn't too sure how this would work since it's getting really warm here now in New Zealand, since we're heading towards the end of spring, but this just goes on beautifully and it also wears really well. And I also find that it's really good at keeping my oils at bay as well during the day. So this powder has 35 grams of product. It is made in France and it has a shelf life of 12 months from date of opening, and the packaging of this is really beautiful and has like a frosted type of packaging there with the gold cap. So the powder in here is super fine. It's very finely milled, and once I put it on, my skin just feels silky smooth. And I've been putting it on using my Lumiere powder brush. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this powder now, and of course this is fragrance as well. This has the most beautiful scent. I don't think there's any other Guerlain makeup products that I've tried that have this fragrance in it. It almost has a little bit of sweetness in it as well. It's really beautiful. Now this comes in 4 different shades, and mine is in the shade Light. Now, if it was in the cooler months, autumn or winter, I'd probably just do a very light dusting. But since it is, as I was saying, it's definitely warmer here now, then I just add a little bit more powder. And when I do that, it doesn't look cakey at all. And I think it has a really beautiful blurring effect and gives this beautiful, beautiful softness to the skin. I think this is a really, really beautiful powder. Now, everyone knows that has watched my previous videos that I do love the Chanel, the Natural Finish loose powder. And I would say the Chanel one has a little bit more mattifying qualities in it, but I've had no issues with this, and as I said, it has been keeping my oils at bay. I'm not too sure how it would go right in the middle of summer with my oilier skin. Probably maybe have to shift towards the Chanel one then, but I think this powder would suit all skin types. It's definitely not drying in any way. Now it also comes with this puff as well. It has a little black band there, and it is quite thick and extra luxurious. Now often I use my Lumiere brush to powder, but sometimes I like to use a puff as well. Sometimes I just like using a puff, and if you want a powder to be a little bit more mattifying, then if you just curl up the puff and roll the powder in, that can give your powder just that extra bit of mattifying effect as well, and it can also give a little bit more of a blurring effect. But I haven't tried this puff yet. It feels just like the Chanel one that I've got here. If I put them side by side, the Chanel one's probably just a tiny bit smaller, but they're about the same width, but it is a very luxurious puff. So as I was saying at the start of this video, I didn't pick up the bronzer that was in the holiday collection from Guerlain, so I'm going to use one of their terracotta ones. I love these. Now I have these in a few different shades, but the one that I'm going to use today is medium warm, and to put it on, I'm going to use one of their brushes that was released earlier this year. And of course, I also picked up the brush from that Pucci collection that was released probably about, was that 2 or 3 months ago now? Time goes really quickly. So I've used this brush quite a few times, and it is synthetic, but it is super soft. It's dense enough so you get enough product, but it's also really soft as well. So I think it does a really beautiful job at blending out product, and it also washes beautifully. So the other terracotta bronzer that I reach for quite a bit, I think it's in the shade 04 in Deep Cool. So this one here and the other one, Deep Cool, those are the two that I use the most. But I love these bronzers. They have a very slight, when you put it on, there is a tiny bit of a sheen, but it's very subtle and just gives this beautiful, beautiful warmth to the skin, and the formula is just gorgeous. Now these are fragranced as well, but now because I've had this for a little while, I can hardly really smell the fragrance at all now. So now let's take a look at this beautiful eyeshadow quad, and of course the packaging on this is just absolutely beautiful. It is very sparkly and I just think it is gorgeous. Now I think this eyeshadow quad is called Regarde Moi, and I think that means, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it means look at me. So this has the 4 eyeshadows in it, and each of the shadows weighs, it is 1.6 grams. This is also made in France and it has a shelf life of 6 months from date of opening. Now I have a few of these Guerlain eyeshadow quads, ones that I've had for quite a while now, and they last well beyond the 6 months. And this eyeshadow quad also comes with 2 little applicators, and sometimes I do use these. Now I tried out this eyeshadow quad yesterday because the color story, it's got the burgundies in it and it's also got red in it as well, and I wasn't quite sure how it would look, but once I had put it on, I actually thought it looked really pretty. It looked a lot better than I thought it was going to. So here is color story. You've got a beautiful pink, that's a matte. You've also got a metallic in here, satin, and another matte as well. So as well as the pink, you've got a burgundy, there's also a bronze shade, and then of course you've got the red shade as well. So this is swatched from left to right, top to bottom. So I'm going to start off with this pink, and that is a matte. Next we've got a burgundy, and that is satin. You can see that they swatch really beautifully. And then we've got the metallic copper, and finally you've got the matte red. And just give you a close-up of the packaging. I just think it is absolutely beautiful. All these beautiful different coloured rhinestones on it, just gorgeous. So I think I'll use the mirror in this quad just so I can see what I'm doing. So first of all, I'm going to start off with this matte shade. This is the pink one. I'm trying to remember what I did yesterday. I really wasn't too sure about this colour story. To be honest, I really just picked this up for the packaging, just to add to my collection. But once I had tried it out yesterday, I did think it looked really, really pretty. And I had no issues with blending of any of the shades. And this matte pink shade is really, really beautiful. So I'm just going to build that up slightly. I'm going to take a BK Beauty brush, and now I'm going to go into this copper shade here, and I'm going to put this in the outer corner, and then I will blend it out. And I'm also going to take this up onto my brow bone as well. That is a really, really beautiful shade. Then I'm going to go back to the brush that I used that had the pink, for the pink eyeshadow, and just blend this shade out just to give it a little bit of softness, and also take that up onto my brow bone. Then we'll take Son G, the pencil one. I'm going to stay with the copper shade, and I'm going to run this under my lower lash line. Now I'm just taking a smaller brush. This is the Rapha 13, and now I'm going to go into this red shade. I did use all 4 shades yesterday, including the red one. Just wanted to see how it would look, and I thought it actually looked really good. So what I'm going to do is just put a tiny amount of this red, I don't use a lot, and just put it on the very, very outer corner, where just over the top where I put that bronze shade. And then again, just go back to this brush here and just very gently just blend that red shade out a fraction. Then I'm going to take the Rapha number 28, and now I'm going to go into the satin shade here. This is the burgundy one. Now this is also very pigmented, so just got to go quite easy with it. And I'm going to put this in the center of my lid. So just going in really easy and just very, very lightly just tapping it on. Then I've just wiped down this brush, and I'm going to go into the pink shade again and put that over the rest of my lid, just towards, just in the inner corner, and just sweep that out and take a little bit of that up through there as well. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more of that copper shade on my lower lash line. Now just taking a clean brush, this is super soft and really fluffy, and just go over what I've done just to soften everything out. So what do you think so far, Margot? Are you going to behave if I put you down? So with the eyeliner, I used a Dior one. Now, I used to have the Guerlain one, and then I ran out, and I haven't reordered another one, but I do have to get another one because I think their eyeliners are really beautiful. Now, I think the saving grace with this eyeshadow look, I didn't think I would like this quad at all, but I actually think it is really beautiful. I think this copper shade down here is really good for under the eyes. Now on the Guerlain website, they've got to use this as eyeliner up here, and I think also there's some looks with the red underneath as well. Now for me, I think doing that, then I would get that sore eye look. So by putting the copper underneath here, I think that looks really beautiful on the lower lash line. And then by using a brown eyeliner, I think that stops the look where you can get that sort of sore eyes look. But I think this is really beautiful. Now I've just closed this quad, but I am going to use it for my blush. I used it yesterday and it is gorgeous, and I used this pink shade. So I'm just going to grab a rapper brush. This is the number 24, and go into that beautiful pink matte shade, and it makes a really, really beautiful blush. Now I do have one of the Guerlain blushes that came out, and it is a pink, but it is very, very soft, whereas this is more pigmented. And I think it just looks really gorgeous. So I was rapt when that pink shade was a matte, because I knew straight away that it would look really, really gorgeous as a blush. And I'm going to use a highlighter today, and it's a Guerlain one. This is the Terracotta Luminizer, and this one is in the shade, it is Cool Ivory. These are really beautiful. These are subtle. They don't emphasize texture. Really beautiful. So I'm just going to pop some of this just to give a very, very subtle highlight. And for the lipstick, I did pick up the beautiful case. I thought this was really gorgeous. This has been the most popular item out of this collection, I think. And I did find a place in the US that is still selling this. And there's also a place still selling it in the UK as well. But like everything else that I'm wearing today, it will be all listed and linked in the description box below. So here is the case. It's just so, so gorgeous. And here is the lipstick that I picked up. It is a Velvet Formula, and this is Beige Bijou. And here is a swatch of it. I tried this yesterday as well, and this is really beautiful. Now they've also got in this collection another lipstick, and it is a really beautiful red, and I'm still not sure whether to get it or not. I really don't wear red lipsticks a lot, but the shade of that just looks really beautiful. But this is a really gorgeous shade as well, and I love the Velvet Formula from Guerlain. You get that mattifying effect, but it doesn't dry down too much. It's a really, really lovely formula. So that shade is beautiful. I wasn't too sure once I'd ordered it, because I thought it could be a little bit flat looking, but I think it goes really beautiful with this eye look. And if I was going to pick up the red lipstick, I wouldn't put it with this eye look. I'd wear something a lot more subdued, hardly anything on my eyes, and wear that beautiful bold red. But there are some people that could definitely pull that look off with the red lipstick with this eye look as well. But I think altogether it looks really beautiful. And I haven't quite finished the look yet. I also picked up the meteorites, And I think this is similar to the shade 02, which I haven't got. I have got a few of these, but I haven't got 02. I think this one has, it's like the 02, but with a little bit more warmth. But the packaging is just absolutely beautiful. I think this is gorgeous. So I'm just going to hold this up for you a little bit closer so you can take a good look at it. Look how beautiful this is. It's just so gorgeous. And I'll also show you inside. They have the little puff, but with this collection they had this beautiful blue ribbon. And here is the inside of it. You can see with the yellow gold in there that gives it just that little bit more warmth. So what I'm going to do is just pop the lid back on and just give this a shake, and that loosens up some of the powder. Then you can use the puff that comes with it. I tend to use these using one of my powder brushes. I'm going to use the Lumiere one, the same that I used for the Guerlain powder at the beginning of the video. And just going to swirl in there. And again, this is fragranced, but I think the fragrance is really lovely. Now, it's not like the original fragrance that they had. There's a few people that were disappointed with that, but I think the fragrance is really nice. So again, just swirl it all in. And I think this is a really beautiful finishing powder. So I think the finished look is really beautiful. I wasn't too sure about this eyeshadow quad, but when I put it all together, I really love it. And when I tried it yesterday, I was quite surprised. I thought I might just end up using from the quad, it would be that copper shade and probably just the pink. But when you place this red here, just a little bit in the outer corner, you still get that beautiful red. But for me, I don't use too much, and then I don't get that sore eye look. And again, with this burgundy shade here, I think in the middle, it just looks really beautiful. And although, like I was saying, there are pictures of using this as a liner, I like it that I've used the brown eyeliner, and then for me it's just not too much. But if you've been wondering about this eyeshadow quad, or you did buy it just for the packaging, because as I was saying, I did initially buy it just for the packaging, and you haven't tried it out yet, or you want to look at a different way of putting it on, well, hopefully today helped. But this is definitely a wearable look, and this isn't a look that I would wear just in the evening. I think this is very wearable for during the day as well. This quad ended up being just a really, really pleasant surprise. And then of course we've got the new Guerlain powder. It is absolutely beautiful. It's worn beautifully the last few days that I've used it. You saw once I put it on, it does give a really beautiful blurring effect. Not as mattifying as my Chanel Natural Finish loose powder, but still wears really well on my oily skin. And I think this would be suitable for all skin types. It doesn't have to be oily, also for the normal combination, and also for dry skin as well. Really beautiful powder. The lipstick shade is really pretty, and again, pleasantly surprised with it. Being more of that brown nude, I thought it could be a little bit deep or look a little bit flat on my lips, but I think it's beautiful. One of the Guerlain, the lip glosses over the top, that would also look really pretty as well. And of course the packaging that this comes in, I just think it is absolutely beautiful and just gives that really gorgeous sparkle, really suitable for this holiday time. And the meteorites always looks beautiful, and I use it as a last step. The packaging is divine, absolutely divine. And I also love that little extra touch of the ribbon on the puff, that it has that deep blue on there as well. I didn't have the shade 02 in my collection, although I do have a few of these new meteorites. So I'm pleased to have 02, and this isn't quite exactly the same as 02 because it has that little bit of warmth, but really pleased that I've got this in my collection. So overall, I am thrilled that I purchased this. I love to get the Guerlain products. I think it is such a beautiful range. Their fragrances are just divine, and their makeup products are beautiful as well, and they always perform really well. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.